Okay, we're going to show you how to plant your new seedlings in the bags for the planted wall. So you're going to take your biodegradable bag that you received in your box, and you're going to take your hex pot. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to place the bag into the pot. You're not going to plant in the bag. You're going to plant it in the bag inside the pot. That's actually important because it helps keep it shape. So the nice thing about these bags is they are biodegradable and they're compostable, which is wonderful because you can just compost it when you're done or throw it in the recycling bin, and or even the yard waste, because it will compost. And but one thing that means is that after probably about 6 months, you're going to want to replace this bag because it will break down over time. And that's okay normally, because you're normally going to be growing and replacing your seedlings every probably month to 2 months, possibly 3 months. 1 month during peak growing season, 2 to 3 months in the winter when it's colder, if you're in more mild temperatures. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our soil. I like to usually put it in an open bin or bucket, and I want to make sure it's moist. It doesn't need to be overly damp, but you want to make sure that it's moist enough that when you put it together, it's kind of clumping together. We're going to water it later as well, but this kind of helps because of the coconut coir. The soil is going to expand, and so you want to make sure it's a little bit wet to start out with. So what I'm going to be doing first off is the pot is going to hang like this on the wall. Do you see here? You've got this hook, and that's going to be how it hangs. And so what we want to do is I usually like to face it towards me, and we're going to put it in probably about 3/4 of the way full. You can see I've done that here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my organic transplant fertilizer mix. And this is all organic amendments, mostly marine-based, kelp, meal. It's got alfalfa meal, it's got mycorrhizal fungi, the macro and micronutrients and trace elements that the microbes in the soil are going to break down and eat and make it into a organic matter for the plant roots to take up. So that's a really important part of the soil web. So right now what we're doing here is we're kind of adding some more fast uptake nutrients for the soil microbes. Think of it as compost breaks down very slowly over time, whereas this is more easily accessible to the soil microbes. So I just go ahead and take 1 tablespoon, I mix that in. We also give you worm castings, and I'm going to go ahead and add that now as well. There is worm casting in the soil. You don't need to do this, but I like to do it just because I think it kind of saves work down the road. You know, we do tell people that they can add it, you know, halfway through the growth cycle if they want to, but typically I get busy, I forget to do it, so I like to just do it there's absolutely no harm. Worm castings helps to balance the pH, and it's just providing more trace elements for those soil microbes. So here we go. So I'm going to go there and add a little bit more soil, and I'm going to make a hole right here, and that's going to be where my seedling's going to go. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my seedling, I'm going to get 1 teaspoon of the mycorrhizal fungi. Now this is going to help prevent transplant shock for the roots. It's also going to help extend the reach of the roots into the soil. There's a lot of soil, there's a lot of great soil with a lot of great nutrients, and this is going to help form a web between the roots and the other kind of fungi in the soil. It's going to help it take up more nutrients. So I'm going to cover that around the soil, the roots, so it's closer to there. Just kind of go ahead and mix it into the soil, okay? And then I'm going to position. I like to position, usually because this is a vertical structure, you usually want to position your seedling towards the bottom of the pot like so, because it's going to grow up to follow, you know, it's because of the vertical nature, it's going to follow the sun and it's going to grow up. So you want to have it ready for that, so that you're going to see it's going to cover up the soil here, and it's going to perform a nice bloom. So I'm just adding a little bit more soil around so that we're covering the base of the roots there. You want to make sure that you're supporting the stem where the leaves come off. And for most of your seedlings, you're going to want to make sure there's just 1 seedling there. And you can see there, there was just one branch. There's just one branch where the leaves are coming out. So that is all ready to go. And that's that easy. And then we're going to water this a bit. I think I'll go ahead and water a little bit. And I want to do that usually before I get it on the wall, because I want that soil to be nice and damp and ready to go. When you have a new seedling, you don't need to water it that much because the root system is just not that big. So you don't want to drown it. You just want to have a little bit, enough to keep the soil intact. And I've got a beautiful seedling ready to hang on the wall. And I can go ahead and just hang that right on the wall. And that is what you do.